Welcome back to Kinda Funny's Rocky / Creed in review. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by the producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Tim, I think it'd be a fun creative challenge for whoever makes our intros to composite my Sylvester Stallone's body onto my body from the neck down, and then Dolph Lundgren's onto yours. How do you feel about that?
Cameron Kennedy, I know you're listening.
Never heard of him.
Just ignore it all, please. Just
Never heard of him. Go ahead, Cameron Kennedy. You have my authorization.
Are you going to pay out of it out of your own pocket? Or?
I'll pay out of Tim's credit card pocket.
That voice you hear making his return to Kinda Funny, at least as far as I'm concerned, because it's the first time I've made content with him in over a week. The Natural Rifle, Andy Cortez.
Or if you only watch in review, haven't missed.
That's true. You're crushing it.
We're just back for another week. No worries.
It's great. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, because I guess you missed it. You missed I Am Groot. You missed a classic. Andy.
You did.
You missed I Am Groot in review, which now you need to do your homework. You need to not only watch I Am Groot, you need to watch our in review. It's a whole thing.
Rank 42. I don't. Who gives a shit?
Isn't that right? Twitch.tv's own Sancho West.
What's up, y'all? We're back at it, and listen, your audio listeners, we're about to bring it, dude. It's Rocky 4, baby. It's Rocky 4.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? We are rocking this right now. I have the awesome hat. Happy birthday, Paulie.
Happy birthday, Paulie.
Happy birthday, Paulie.
Good Lord. So much to talk about today, you guys, because of course.
Wait, hold on. This hat is so good. That's such a good hat. You're killing it right there. Like, we're not making a big enough deal about how great this hat is.
Living in America.
Love the guy, James Brown.
You really gotta love it. This is Kinda Funny's in review. Each and every week, we get together to talk about movies, rank them, review them, recap them. It's what we do. If there is a movie franchise out there that you love or hate, chances are we've already talked about it. And sometimes we do rewatches like we just did last week for The Incredible Hulk to lead into our watching of She-Hulk over the next couple weeks. But that's not what we're doing today. We're doing Rocky. We've been doing Rocky, and now we're going to continue doing Rocky. Today's number 4. The next 2 weeks will be Rocky 5 and then Rocky 6. But then we're going to put a little pause on the Rocky boxing madness because Creed 3 got delayed. So come next year, we will return with Creed 1, 2, and then the brand new Creed 3, which is very exciting. You can get all of that on youtube.com/kindafunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also get it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny in review, and we'll be right there for you. If you wanted to get the show ad-free and watch live as we record it, patreon.com/kindafunny is where you want to go. Just like our Patreon producers, Molecule and Fargo Brady. We appreciate you all so very, very much. Today, we're brought to you by Shopify and Uplift. But we'll talk about that later because we got to talk about Rocky 4, baby.
Yeah, we do.
Released on November 27th, 1985. Stallone revealed that he intended for this to be the last Rocky film, but that clearly didn't happen. In 2021, a director's cut was released with the title Rocky 4, Rocky vs. Drago. And Sancho, I'm going to rely on you later to get into some of the details about like what the differences are there. Because interestingly, Andy, you hear director's cut and you're like, this thing's probably 10 hours longer. Not the case. 1 minute longer. Just a very different movie.
Yes. Completely different movie. Now, I will definitely point it out during the plots, whether they're here and there. It changes the tone a little bit, but the movie itself is so lean. I'm surprised Stallone was able to find it, but it's an interesting cut. I think you should definitely take a watch at it, but we'll cover as much as possible here for you folks at home.
This one had a runtime of 1 hour and 31 minutes. Now, here is one of my favorite facts I think I've ever dropped on an in review.
Yeah,
it has been calculated. Also, I just love that that's how it's phrased, as if this is like some Herculean effort that's like science has figured out. It has been calculated that Rocky 4 is 31.9% montages.
Yeah.
Nearly a third of the film. During the second half of the film, or the last 50 minutes, it's approximately 50% montage.
Yep.
It's likely that this was due to cover the removal of the hour worth of material and to provide enough cut down exposition bridging material for the gaps so that the story was still relatively intelligible. This was directed by Sylvester Stallone and written by Sylvester Stallone once again. Now, here's one of my biggest surprises. I feel like out of all the Rocky movies, this is the one everyone's been like, Tim Geddes. You can wait till 4. Just wait till 4. Just wait till 4.
Wait till 4.
Nobody told me that the music was done by Vince DiCola. Now, Vince DiCola
How could we forget?
I know him because he is the iconic composer of Transformers the movie, the animated movie, which like say what you will about that film. The soundtrack is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
But it's so epic, all the synth shit, all the it's ridiculous. The score, like the license stuff's great, but the score is so fucking cool. I am taken aback here, boys. Like I don't think I've seen a movie more times than I've seen Transformers the movie. That it's embedded in my brain, all the sounds, everything. I am blown away that like Vince DiCola was just like, you know what, fuck it. I made the Rocky soundtrack, and then a year later, I just used the exact same soundtrack in Transformers. Like, This is the Transformers soundtrack. Unicron's theme is just Drago's theme. Like, I can't fucking believe it. Did that make me like this movie a lot? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got some facts for you about this man, all right? He's composed scores for films such as Staying Alive, Rocky IV, and Transformers the movie. He pioneered the use of sequencers on his soundtrack, recording for Rocky IV, one of the first to exploit the Fairlight CMI and Skynclaver 3 computer sequencing capabilities.
The classics.
Yep. In 1983, DiCola was a co-nominee for Best Album of Original Score Written for a Motion Picture and a Grammy for co-writing the soundtrack for the movie Staying Alive, in spite of the poor critical reception of the film. He also received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Original Song for Far From Over, which he co-wrote with Frank Stallone for the same film.
Yes, he did.
But at the time of release, critics didn't appreciate his usage of electronic music in Rocky IV, and he received a Golden Raspberry Award for the worst musical score.
Go to hell.
As a result. Literally get fucked.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Get with the times, you geezers. Quit with your freaking... Who are some like artists from then? Nick?
John Williams.
Duran.
Yeah, fuck you, John Williams.
Yeah,
Genesis.
John Williams. Yeah. John Williams had the final vote to make it a Razzie.
It's interesting. That must be where they worked together, because I don't know if you know this or not, Tim, but Stallone actually directed Staying Alive, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he really?
Yes, he has a cameo in it. It's one of the only movies I think he's ever been a part of and directed that he wasn't starring in. There's just one shot where Travolta walks past him and he's in this incredible fur coat, like down to the ankles fur coat, and he just looks back and he's like, yo, and then like keeps walking. It's pretty cool. The movie was very, very much panned, but the soundtrack is incredible to it, and it has a special place in my heart because it has John Travolta greased up to the high heavens dancing in a loincloth.
Good.
It's awesome.
And then James Brown is seen performing the song "Living in America" prior to the he is prior to the Creed versus Drago match. The song was released as a single from the movie soundtrack and became Brown's first top 40 single in 11 years and the last of his career. Nick Scarpino.
I was of two minds with this scene, Tim, because as you know, I love Rocky, and I was waiting for you to watch this too, but it scared me a little bit.
Yeah,
because when Creed comes in from the ceiling and he punches the bull, and the bull falls apart and like fire shoots out of it, I was like, man, Tim, don't get any fucking ideas.
I love
don't
it.
Get
dude.
any
I
ideas,
fucking,
dude.
That
was a Tim scene, dude. That was a Tim scene all the way.
We'll get there. But the note that I wrote down here was finally some hype entrances. The ring rises, and I was like, oh, bad music though. What the fuck? It killed the moment. And then I wrote a couple more things, and then I was like, Tim, you're a fucking idiot. This is awesome
because it's James Brown.
Yeah,
got James Brown.
Living in fucking
America. Good. It's just such a. It's so funny because we'll get to that scene when it happens. But I just love that it's Apollo Creed doing what Apollo Creed does best. How do you make it a spectacle? It becomes about America versus Russia in the height of the Cold War, and he gets James Brown to write a song called "Living in America," and it's the most hype thing ever. And he's just dancing all over it while the Russians just sit there and frown their pudding.
That wasn't the only song written for this, was it? Was there?
I think Hearts on Fire might have
Hearts
been.
Hearts on Fire was definitely written for
so
that. That's right.
Good, dude.
Oh, so
which
good.
I never knew.
So good.
I never knew that was written for the movie. Like, I'm watching on my flight, and I'm looking at the closed captioning subtitles. I'm like, oh, this is just summarizing the movie.
Yeah,
hey, if your name is Rocky and you like to fight, you're like, whoa.
And at the very end, it was like, he knocks out Drago in the final round. I was like, oh, spoilers. What the fuck?
If you stick around long enough, there'll be 10 more of these. It's funny because there was so many montages in this movie. Well, last week, I think I was singing it to myself and I was joking around. And we get to a montage in this, and I was like, oh, maybe Hearts on Fire isn't a part of this movie. Maybe I thought that maybe that was a different movie. I totally had them. And then a second later, it kicks off, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I forgot. This movie's 87% montages / music videos. There's just a shot of. There's like one moment in this, we'll get to it, where Sylvester Stallone just drives his incredible Lamborghini around town, and it's just a music video of him remembering all the other Rockies that came before it for 4 minutes. They just ate up 4 minutes of screen time.
Unreal. It just kept going, dude. It's so long.
This one had a budget of 28 million and a box office of 300.4 million, becoming the highest grossing film of the franchise and the third highest grossing film of 1985.
Wait, man. Wait, I was going to say, it's so cheap, though. It's a cheese because half the film is just old footage, bro. That's how they save money. It's like, no easy way out. It's literally the whole Rocky franchise in review in a minute. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And they were going to use the budget on a real person when they said they hired a robot.
Yeah.
Dude, God.
The robot.
I'll get to the fucking robot, Andy. Don't you goddamn worry. But
we all will.
Yeah, I'm sure we all will. What do you think the two movies that grossed higher than Rocky IV in 1985?
1985. Ooh,
I know a guess.
You go ahead, Sandra.
Rambo 2.
So there you go. That was the number two.
Wow.
That was the number two. Which I did not know that Rambo 2 was called Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is that is some Square Enix ass naming it, but I appreciate it.
I can't wait until we do Rambo in review, because if you thought the difference between Rocky 1 and Rocky 4 was crazy, wait till you see the difference between Rambo First Blood, which was the name of the movie, and then Rambo First Blood Part 2, which is just like, you're like, not even close to the same style of movies. They just went full tilt. I'm going to guess 85. Shoot, because Ghostbusters was
Back
84,
to the Future.
right? Was it Beverly Hills Cop? Oh, it was Back to the Future? Nice.
What a year in movies. Whoa.
Dude, what a year for Stallone.
That's true.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I saw this movie in theaters. It was an epiphany. This thing was huge back in the day. I just remember it being like walking out and legitimately thinking we just won the Cold War. And I didn't even know what a Cold War was. It was incredible. This is talking about Sylvester Stallone at the height of his powers in Rocky IV, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, keep going. What did you think? What was your? So this was the first Rocky you saw in theaters, right?
This would have been the first Rocky I saw in theaters, and so this was my first exposure to a Rocky. I hadn't seen any. I don't think I'd ever seen one prior to this. So I just thought Rocky was like this spectacle. I mean, this is a very highly polished movie. It's got the soundtrack. It's like a multi-million-dollar movie. So of course, going backward in this, you see Rocky 3, you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then Rocky 2, you're like, what's happening here? And then Rocky 1, you're like, wait, this is a real movie. How did we get? How did we follow this along? And again, just continuing on the roller coaster. I love this movie. It has a special place in my heart for me. It is not a great movie in general. It's very, very cheesy. It's very contrived. It's more style than substance, but that style that's there, come on, it's incredible. I mean, for Christ's sake, there's just a shot where he's got a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, and I think a Lotus at one point, and they're all the exact same style of coupe. It's so cool. The robot is completely ridiculous. I guess everything can be summed up in the robot, where it's like, why did any of this need to be here? It doesn't. It's just weird and super fun. And
the robot is definitely representative for the fourth iteration of a Rocky movie.
Yeah,
it's very strange. Do you have
so
the
symbolic?
Okay, yeah. Actually, I'm going to just get to it here because I have to say it. Like, we've talked on Interview a lot about Rocky, about how these movies have really kind of followed Stallone's life, right? Like, when you look at 1, it's like, cool, the smaller, like, underdog story. 2, it's kind of him trying to learn how to deal with fame. 3 is him kind of overcoming that and learning to work with people around him and all that. And then you get to this, and when this robot shows up, I was like, what is happening? And like, jokingly to Gia, I was like, what's the real life story? Was he just obsessed with robots at this time in his life? It was like that, how this all gets connected. And here's the fucking facts for you, Andy Cortez. Polly's robot was created by International Robotics in New York City. Its voice was the company's CEO. Roger Ebert sarcastically surmised the robot is an android of some type, complete with artificial intelligence. The robot's identified by robotic engineers as Sicko, S-I-C-O, and was a member of the Screen Actors Guild and toured with James Brown in the 1980s. In an interview with Ain't It Cool News, Sylvester Stallone revealed that he first saw the robot at a party he was at and was so amused by it, he decided he had to include it in this movie so that audiences could get a look at it.
Yeah. That's where we're at here.
The actual fuck.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. We went
This is definitely the Wild Wild West. I need to put a spider in my movie.
Yes.
That's beyond that, dude.
No.
It's beyond that.
What this is Sylvester Stallone as a megastar. Just being like, let's just make another Rocky to get some cash in our pockets. It does continue the story in a way that's interesting, but not really. And it's just Sylvester Stallone cashing in on all that hard work that went into the first couple Rockies and Rambo, which, again, if you haven't seen First Blood, it's a really, really good movie.
And just based on seeing the robot, which is something that I had already spoiled for me in Family Guy, of course.
Yes.
But knowing that there was a robot in the movie, I thought it would be in the least liked Rocky movie of the whole franchise, Rocky 5. Yeah. I just assumed the robot was in Rocky 5 because I know that's the movie that people think is like definitely way jump the shark. So I was like, of course the robot's going to be there. I was very shocked to see the robot make appearance and like the music going off and just saying happy birthday, Polly, like kind of on beat. So bizarre. Such a bizarre choice.
And Andy, on top of that, because people have I've heard things, I've heard rumbles in the past about these Rocky movies, and I've always heard people like say robot and then start laughing, right? Oh, the one with the robot. So I knew it was coming, but I gotta be real with you. I expected he was going to fight a robot, maybe train against a robot. But to see how the robot was implemented might be one of my favorite reveals and kind of funny in review history. Because what the actual fuck, Stallone?
The thing about it is I think Stallone learned his ways and he cut that out completely out of the director's cut. That robot is not even seen, not even spoken to. No one talks to it. It is gone. The movie picks up literally with Rocky 3 and Apollo in the pool. That's when that movie starts in the director's cut.
Polly talks about getting its tubes tied.
It's not, dude. Don't even go down that path, dude. It has an 8-track. It has a CD player. It has a microwave in it. I think, dude. It is like a Richie Rich robot. That thing is straight Richie Rich, dude.
Andy Cortez, what did you think about Rocky 4?
I'm kind of like the movie. I'm kind of all over the place with it. I think it wavered. I think it's almost like a best of and worst of. When we get that 20-minute long montage with the music video, like all of there's just so many choices that felt really, I guess, bad. Yeah, there's no other way to say it. Like, I think that we hit some moments and it's like, why am I did I click the wrong video? Am I just looking at a fan, like, Limp Bizkit Dragon Ball Z video back in the day? Like, FM, like, what is going on here? Yeah, all AMV, alternate music video, yeah. Yeah, I thought there was just a lot of odd choices there. I kind of really dug the training montages in Russia. Like, I dug those moments. I loved... Here's one thing that I didn't like. I didn't like having the second montage after we get that really cool parallel montage of here's how Rocky's doing it, here's how Drago's doing it. Mm-hmm. I think that was kind of like the peak of all the montages, and I'll say that's my full Monty right there. Oh, that's the one that we should have focused on the most. We didn't need to do a second one where Adrian shows up and suddenly it's like time for montage number 2. I don't think we need any of that. I feel like there were certain moments in Rocky 4 where maybe they traveled to the future and heard Andy's complaints about how Rocky was more Stallone and less Rocky. Because in here, there was a couple of those stupid little Rocky-isms that we would have every once in a while that I did enjoy. I thought it was also interesting that they came into the future to watch our interview and hear us complain about how much we hate Paulie. They were like, let's try to make him likable. This time we'll make him the comic relief, and he'll just be the silly guy that's kind of just always hanging around Rocky. Still absolutely useless. I feel like Adrian was pretty useless in this as well. When we get near the end and the little kid goes, that's my dad, and the two friends are like, yeah, we know. I'm like, you better not introduce these two characters as like, we better not cut back to them a couple more times. Like, well, you better not.
You better not.
and we didn't, which was great. I think the movie overall, though, like, yeah, I don't think it's very great. I was hoping this one was going to be the one that kind of blew me away from all the others. Drago doing roids and we don't care. We'll show it, but like we're not gonna make it a thing. It's like they never fully committed to one issue or the other. Am I supposed to hate Drago? I guess I'm supposed to like him towards the end because we're supposed to feel bad for him, but he's still being like, I'm going to fucking cut you open or whatever the fuck he says. Like he's still threatening him, and I kind of just want to feel more sympathy for him. It felt like they were pulled in a lot of directions and weren't sure where to sort of commit the feelings toward. I was really excited to see Duke play a main role as the trainer, and I just feel like it was a wasted opportunity. Like,
yeah,
we've loved Duke this whole time, and I feel like this was the movie where Duke could have been like, oh man, we're getting finally what we want. More Duke being the awesome coach and great orator, and he's gonna just like really just spill some knowledge and wisdom, and there just wasn't nearly enough of it.
He has some banger lines.
Yeah,
this,
great
though.
line.
I'm not gonna lie. Like
he does,
when
yeah.
he
But I
just
kind of
screams at
wanted
him, no pain, and he goes, no pain.
No
He goes,
pain.
no pain, no pain. He's got. I wrote them all down because Duke has all the best lines in this.
I wanted him to be the old trainer from Rocky. What's his name?
Burgess
Mickey.
Meredith. Yeah, Mickey.
Yeah, I wanted him to be Mickey. I wanted him to have like way more of a presence instead of like, here's a cool one-liner.
It's very weird because there's that one scene in the cabin where Duke's like, listen, I know you got to go at this your own. And
Yep.
it's like, no, you don't. Like, you need someone to train you. This guy's a monster that you're going to fight. And then Duke ends up training him anyway. But yeah, it was a very weird vibe. And I'm glad Duke got some like more screen time in the third one for sure.
Sancho, what'd you think of Rocky 4?
I mean, Rocky 4 holds a special place in my heart. It's one of those ones when I watched when I was a kid that I always love. I remember my sister bought me a Rocky 4 poster. It's a very iconic poster. It's the Italian styling with the American flag draped over him. He's like bloodied. It's amazing, and it's so iconic. I mean, a lot of these movie posters are very iconic, but the Rocky 4 one always stands out to me. I remember always seeing it. It's so good, dude. I remember
that one in Top Gun.
Yes.
Where it's like, you know.
Yes. I always seen the Rocky 4 poster at Suncoast all the time, and I always wanted to get it. It's just, I feel like if looking at it with a critical eye, it's definitely a movie stuck in its time. If you would go into when it was made, I mean, music videos were just becoming a thing. You had Stallone at the, rising up to the peak of his megastar career. You could see why it was made. I think what really holds it back is that it's so lean, and I like the pacing of it. It's so much better pacing than Rocky 3. Remember I talked about Rocky 3, there was like the introductions of the fights. It's like, come on, let's just move to it. This one just moves through it so fast, and we already talked about how it's mainly montage, but I think watching it back to back to back to back, you kind of zone out on the. I mean, no way. There's No Easy Way Out. It's a classic Rocky moment, and Stallone understood that, and he kept it in director's cut. And it's such a good moment because it goes through everything about Apollo's career. He's like, we all have those moments. You're driving, you're trying to figure out, what do I do in my life? I made these many mistakes, and there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut home, bro. You're gonna have to go through Drago, being able to get home. But seeing Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and then going Rocky 4, he's like, you just zone out because you've seen all that footage. But other than that, I think that it's just too iconic for me to kind of. And more so than Rocky 1, I think the Drago is such a fun opponent. I just remember playing so many video games, and it's like this little sprite Rocky and then this huge Drago. And it just always felt cool to see this United States versus Russia thing. And it's just so interesting to see how it all play out. And then it ends with like the weirdest speech ever from so Rocky Balboa. And it's like so heartfelt. You're like, yeah,
Mikhail Gorbachev's like, take down the wall.
That's what I'm saying.
The guy that looks like exactly Mikhail Gorbachev is like, stands up and starts clapping, and the rest of the Politburo is like, we're gonna fucking kill you. That's what we're gonna do.
It's so bizarre, but it works so well, and it just shows you that it's just definitely a blockbuster movie, and I like it real high, and I'm interested to see where you guys rank it. But to me, it's a great trip down memory lane, and it's a great like perfect thing for Rocky 4. I think it's a great bookend to like the action star Rocky, and I think it definitely dips back into what Stallone was touching in the very beginnings of his Rocky character. And I think as well as more important is Apollo is a really strong character in this, and it's so sad to see his downfall, his hubris. But I wish we got more of Apollo. The director's cut, you do get a little bit more of Apollo, And there's a couple lines here and there, which I'll talk about, that changes the tone completely between Rocky and Apollo. I just wish there was more Apollo in this, because he is such a big central character in Rocky's career that I think that he kind of falls on the wayside for montage. Like, maybe cut off a montage here to give me more Apollo. And what's so interesting is Apollo, Carl Weathers did not like Apollo dying at all. He did not like Stallone killing off his character. In fact, so much so, no spoilers, is that he was wondering that can Apollo come back in Rocky 6? And like, no, dude, you're dead. I mean, I don't know how this works.
Furious, dude.
Yeah, but it's so fascinating to see that when I watch this in review, and I said this before, that this is more of a Creed story as well. So that's what's so exciting to see Creed go back into it. But yeah, man, I think it's just a movie stuck in its time, but it's a damn good time to have when you want to watch a 80s boxing movie with political climate warfare and a lot of great synth. So it's great, man.
Yeah, this being my first time watching this movie, similar to Andy, I feel like I'm aligned with him a lot. Where I feel like there's some of the best in this, and like there's some really really bad stuff, and like even some of the bad stuff, it's like it's fine. Like the robot shit, I think it's funny enough, and it fits with how stupid and cartoony this movie is. Like Drago is such a cartoon supervillain, and like they treat him like a supervillain. Like the monster, all the steroids, the montage of like what they're both doing. It's like it is. I mean, come on. Double Chef is just perfect 10 out of 10 in the cheese 80s camp, like with the synth, with the music, like all of it's great. Getting some of the iconic Rocky theme, like just hints of it in synth form. Like they knew what they were doing and they tugged at every string that they had to for me. I feel like this one might, I'm interested to rewatch this one in the future without like knowing what happens and knowing kind of the thing, because I feel like it might have been hyped up to be a Tim Geddes movie a bit more than it ended up kind of hitting. But I think that's kind of like, you know, a lot goes into this shit and for these classic old movies. But I feel that there is missed opportunities in a lot of places. I do wish we got a little bit more Creed, like Sancho saying. Sancho, what's up?
I was gonna ask you a quick question. What was the highest hype moment for you in this movie that was like, okay, I could see why they said this is a Tim movie?
I mean, Drago. It's just Drago in general. Just like how just one note he is, and they commit to that note and they play that note better than it's ever been fucking played. Like we finally get the entrances, the ring rising. Like it's just so stupid, but like good stupid. It's the type of stupid that I love, you know? Okay. And Rocky giving the speech at the end, like solving fucking like world peace, like all that type of stuff. Like I'm like, this is so dumb. And I love that we're at the 4th entry in this franchise and they're just like, you know what, let's have fun with it. And that to me is what really is the best part. And like the montage, like to Andy's point, like did we need back-to-back montages? No. Did I love that? I did. I really did. I didn't need Adrian in the middle. I think it kind of broke the pacing. I would have preferred to just kind of be in one long montage, because the second montage towards the end, when he looks back in the car with the Russians that are like his keepers or whatever are fucking like whatever, and he starts outrunning the fucking car and runs up the mountain. He's on the top of a mountain. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Drago,
yes! like come on, I love it. What's up, Nick?
Drago starts a fucking avalanche.
I want to know if any of you thought at one point that he was going to fight a bear.
He could have.
I mean, dude, real talk. It's like in this movie, I would have not questioned it. Like they just really went buck wild with a lot of the stuff, which I thought was fun.
I will say I would have preferred that, Nick, because so far my problem with these movies so far is as we keep on going, at the end of the day, they are still boxing movies. True. And at the end of the day, they are going to follow the same formula. And I think watching this franchise week to week, in my opinion, has only hurt it for me. Because we're getting the same experiences. This isn't a normal action movie where you can do all sorts of stuff. We're not going to see Rocky fighting off crime lords in between something and then maybe go have the boxing match. But like so far, it's just wait. Just wait. Okay,
let's go. I love it.
I mean, that's great because like parts 1 through 4. Like if again, here it is. Let's mark it down right now. Another Fast and Furious comparison. If Fast and Furious was, if 2, 3, and 4
and in one race, right,
were the same formula, and instead of like just stealing DVDs, now in part 3 they're stealing Blu-rays now, like that would get really boring quick. But the fact that these have to be boxing movies and these have to end in a boxing match, there's only so much suspense you can have for me. You know, like I know that you're gonna get overpowered. I know you're gonna come back, and again, it's it's just a product of kind of watching these week to week where you can feel the cadence and you can feel the verse, chorus, instrumental break, chorus. You know,
it's like an Imagine Dragons song.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
How dare you, sir?
That is
How
so good. Yeah, and that's the thing, Andy. Is like watching these for the first time back to back, so close to each other. It does start to blend, and when you compare things and moments, it really does feel like they're one-to-one comparisons. Of like, there's a lot of things of montages, the final fights, who the villain is. It's like, I know that's a lot of what In Review is, but I don't think an In Review franchise has ever felt this similar and this samey. And the things that we like, I feel it's even if a later movie does them better, they come off as worse because they're not better enough to like really truly stand on their own and be special. I'd be really interested in how like all these characters that get introduced over the iterations, if Stallone were to like blow it all up and kind of reboot Rocky and kind of start again and like be able to plan out how all these movies would go, I think we can get a real awesome narrative and a great banger storyline that like builds better. Cause it kind of like Creed's still my favorite character in this franchise. And I feel like had they had a plan for it, it would have been a lot better. Cause it just feels like, in these movies now with 4 in, it just kind of feels like they're always like, what could he do here? And then they write themselves into a corner, I guess. Often it feels.
For sure, if they made these movies now, and obviously they're still making Creed movies, but if they were to make this movie now with how we know modern cinematic universes are, this movie would have been called Creed. And it would have been about Apollo Creed fighting, coming out of retirement, and it would have been his journey, and Rocky would have been training him. That's a whole other spinoff they would have probably done at some point, as opposed to killing Creed off. And of course, I don't think Sylvester Stallone's back in the day, his ego would have allowed that. For sure, no way. Because at this point, he was just a megastar. But Andy, to your point, like, this was a criticism from back in '85 of the Rocky movies. It was a joke. Like they were like, how many more of these are they going to make where it's the exact same movie over and over again, which I think is some of the reasons why you're going to see some interesting changes in Rocky 5.
Put in a robot. I mean,
we'll just say I think he knew that there was a repetitive nature of this, and this is one of those movies where I really do think was a lot of style over substance. It does same with Sancho. It has a special place in my heart because this is what I will forever think of when I think of a Rocky movie, right? This is the most ridiculous aspect of it in every way, shape, or form. It's the most, it's beautifully shot, but it's also very formulaic. And Drago is this cartoon villain, but he's so fucking cool, and his hair, Tim, is so cool in this. Like, if I could have that flat top right now, that's the only hairstyle I would rock for the rest
really
of
the
my
only
life.
one you'd switch out for.
That was it, man. Just that one.
Let's get Rocky versus Rambo versus Aliens versus Predator. Like, that's where we need to push.
I love it.
Shout out to Dolph Lundgren, though, by the way, who introduced. They really looked far and wide for him. He looked great, fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know anything about him?
He's a chemist, right? Like a bioengineer.
He's like super smart. I think he went to like MIT or something like that.
He's really smart, dude.
On like a full ride scholarship, and he's like a super athlete as well. The guy is a great jaw, incredible specimen of a human being. I met him once at a Comic-Con party, IGN Comic-Con party. I was hanging out with Jace Hall for a second, and he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, my friend, can I sit and talk to my friend Jace? I haven't seen him in a while." And I was like, "You're Ivan Drago." Literally, I was like, in my brain, I was like, he's literally twice the man.
He's going to crush you, dude.
Shit.
In my mind, he still looks the same because I feel like he's so robotic and like he hasn't aged just because of all the steroids and preservatives they've been pumping in his body.
He's like,
we're about to get to the plot, but before we do that, let me tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Shopify, who powers all of the merch on KindaFunny.com/store. Shopify is the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business, so upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere. Shopify powers millions of businesses from first sale to full scale, including KindaFunny and Rooster Teeth. Shopify has thousands of integrations and third-party apps, from on-demand printing to accounting to advanced chatbots and beyond. I love how Shopify has the tools and resources that make it easy for any business to succeed from down the street to around the globe. Go to shopify.com/KFgames, that's all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Again, that is shopify.com/KFgames. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/KFgames right now. Shopify.com/KFgames. Now, Andy, take it away.
Shout out to Uplift for sponsoring this episode. I've been using my Uplift desk for well over a year now. I love the thing so much I decided to write a rap song for them. The build quality is real good. It's made of real high quality wood. They didn't ask for it, I just did it anyway. Getting my Uplift desk immediately improved my mood. Whenever I'm on shows, I'm standing up, I'm feeling a lot more energetic. And also I kind of feel like I was just maybe creating some bad habits sitting down at a desk all day. I would move my legs up, I'd sit underneath my legs on my chair, and eventually all that stuff just created really bad back pain for me. Choose from laminate, whiteboard, bamboo, solid wood, butcher block, or even custom solid wood or laminate options. Uplift Desk won New York Times Wirecutter's Best Standing Desk from 2019 to 2022. And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna give them an award as well. Best standing desk that I use in my bedroom from when they sent it to me until now. Uplift Desk have a 15-year warranty. They ship the same day you order with free shipping and free return shipping. So if you've been feeling the effects of sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, maybe you want some more energy in your life, maybe you want to do squats in the middle of a Zoom call or something, uplift your life. Go to kindafunny.com/uplift.
Andy, hit it.
Plot, 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 plot. Here's the plot, plot, plot. Here's the plot, plot, plot.
Rocky 4.
Here's the plot. It's from Nick. We're gonna talk some Rocky. There you go.
Rocky 4. I must break you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm
Nick,
sorry.
let me stop you right there. Sorry, I had to wait till you said it, but I got a fact here that is you're gonna love. You're gonna love.
Okay.
In the Italian dub of the movie, Ivan Drago's line "I must break you" was translated as "I break you in two,"
Okay.
which in Italian is "Ti spiezo in due," complete with a fake Russian accent.
Okay.
It became by far the most famous quote from the movie in Italy and entered everyday speech in Italian.
Wow.
Like just became a phrase that they just use. That's awesome.
That is what it is, man. That's all. I mean, that's the line I was waiting for. I was like, I must break you. And he's just 900 feet taller than Sylvester Stallone. It's so good.
I also thought that if he bleeds was from Predator. No.
Oh, you're talking about if he dies, he
If he
dies.
bleeds, if he dies, he can kill it.
Yeah, very close to the accent. It was very close.
It's all blurred, man.
Tim, I'm sorry. If you thought that Rocky wasn't going to single-handedly end the fucking Cold War, you were mistaken. This literally starts off with two gloves, one with the American flag and one with the Russian hammer and sickle, and they just fucking explode in the middle
Was
of the
that
thing.
CG?
I don't
No,
I
all practical.
think it must
dude.
have been practical.
That's all
The
practical.
gloves
man.
looked CG at first, and then when it exploded, I was like, "Oh, this is so practical." Like,
We of course see the end of Rocky 3, where Rocky utterly destroys Clubber Lang. We see him the whole fight with him and Apollo, and it's awesome. And he goes, Stallion, it's too bad we have to get old. And they have that line in there. Later that night, Rocky pulls his dope ass Lambo up to his house. And his kid has a videotape, and he's walking backward. And in my brain, I'm like, that kid's gonna fall and eat shit.
The drip of Stallone.
Can we talk
throughout
about the drip of Stallone? in this?
The Adidas, like the black sweats with the V-cut color. I don't know what it is. And this dude rocks his boxing shoes as well. Dude, he's drippy in this, man.
It's one of those things where you talk, like, obviously we all have varying degrees of style, but when you look at that, I'm like, if I dressed like that right now, I think it would still be dope. I don't think anyone would.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think people are like, that's pretty cool that he dresses like that.
nobody would ever say anything about it bad.
They would never say a damn thing about it. I also want to give a shout out to the car that he drives in this, which I was
It's
not
so
familiar with. I thought it was the Magnum PI Ferrari. I don't know I don't know exotic cars. I think that's a 308 or a 328 GTO, but it's a Lamborghini. And that's not what you think of when you think of Lamborghinis, but I looked it up and I'm like, that is just such a dope ass car. Anyway, he looks cool.
I like it.
His kid's cool. He's late for Polly's birthday party. And of course, Polly's about to get the present of a lifetime here, a robot. Not just any robot, the robot Sicko, which Polly falls in love with, marries, and I think maybe breaks up with in this movie. I'm not quite sure if the divorce crushes him or not. Tim.
Yeah, dude, that was
Music playing.
Dude, it's straight from Revenge of the Nerds,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
I thought the guy like,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was gonna happen, dude.
This is a strange scene.
Pretty
and
strange,
it's
yeah.
very weird.
Very bizarre.
And it goes on for a long time. And Sylvester Stallone just kind of, at one point they cut back to him, he's just giggling. And it's like, all right, he's not even, we're just here for his amusement now. I love how this movie's shot, though. I want to give a big shout out to Bill Butler, who shot this film. It's very 80s. It's got that traditional, almost noir, smoky, hard light 80s look. There's a
misty
great,
sweat.
when we see Drago training, it reminds me a lot of that Apple commercial, that 1984 Apple commercial where she throws the freaking hammer through the thing. Like all of this looks so Orwellian at moments. It's pretty crazy. I just love that. I just like how most.
Hold on one second.
Sure.
Oh, dude.
It's just so bizarre.
It's so weird.
Later that night, Rocky brings Adrian a cake and gives her an early anniversary present and tells her that after all these years, everything still seems kind of new. It's endearing. It's a nice thing to say. Cut to the new guy in town, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that juxtaposition. It all feels kind of new because there's this new guy coming to town. He's from Russia. And in Russia, with the second you're born, they just start injecting steroids directly into your glutes because this man is a fucking nightmare of a human being. And just shout out to Dolph Lundgren for this. This, for you guys don't know, Ivan Drago is an icon. I was terrified of him in this movie when I saw it when I was a kid, and that was rightfully so because he never does anything other than stare at shit. It's not even a bad stare; it's just that. Thank you, Andy. This is what I needed. Happy birthday, Polly! God,
So
God
weird.
bless it. Anyway, where were we? Apollo watches
Dolph Lundgren,
the press conference as Brigitte Nielsen does the worst Russian accent ever recorded on film. Andy, is it an accent or accent?
Is it
Could
an
only been good.
accent? Is it an accent? I don't really know what the theme song is.
Brigitte Nielsen, of course, rose to fame, I think, because of this movie. She also, I believe, married Sylvester Stallone for a couple years, and that did not
They had
end
some
well.
kids. I think they had
They
some
did have
kids
some
together.
kids. And then I know her from Beverly Hills Cop 2. She played the villain in that, which was great. And then she did Red Sonja with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Red Sonja.
And then she hung out with Flavor Flav. Those are the highlights.
Oh, that's right. That's where I know her from.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's where I know her from.
Yikes.
I wanted to kind of talk about this press conference a bit more because I know
Another Rocky press conference. Yes.
Yeah, we get a cool presser right here, and the thing that I wish that they explored a bit more, which is you could add to the laundry list of things they don't fully explore and kind of like go into, is Dolph Lundgren having this sort of like, I don't know about these steroids things, because we see him make a face. Like he's showing the audience, I am lying, I am roided up, and we don't see enough of that sort of conflict throughout the rest of the movie. Like, why even show that if you're not going to show him, or have the movie end up in some sort of like have steroids at the heart of this? Like, it's one thing they show at the beginning and they never touch on it again. They just show it during a montage. Go ahead, Sancho.
That is answered in the director's cut. You see more of the Drago shell break as time goes on, so that by the time he breaks and picks up that dude like Darth Vader, by the time when he does that, it makes sense. So you see more of that. But he does it like he just makes faces, but he has a couple lines, but it's not much, but they build up to it in the director's cut.
Like,
but
in the montage, I need a moment of them like about to stick him and him to grab the hand and be like, no, like I need some more of that, to show like, yes, I am a little bit, I am not a complete evil robot.
Oh, he's an evil robot.
But then you throw the audience mixed messages of like, how are we supposed to really, feel about this guy?
Well, and I think that's, I mean, obviously no future spoilers, but I think that's something they realized was an interesting story that could be told later, because I think the vibe they were going for was that, much like the Russian government, the Russian basically like economy in the 80s, it was this like, it was a facade, right? It was crumbling around them, and we know that. And at one point, Mikhail Gorbachev was like, I got to tap to this. We can't keep this up. That's when the Berlin Wall came down, and I'm skipping a lot of important events that happened there, but
yada yada.
Yeah, yada yada yada, and now we got Putin. But I think that's something that they would have really helped this movie out. That would have been the angle that I think would have been very interesting. Is that like Drago just was not really in charge of his own destiny here, and was just a puppet of the government to come in, and similar to how a lot of Russian sports are, right? Like, I mean, I think it was the last Olympics where the Russians got banned.
Yeah,
they couldn't even show up because they were all doping. It was that big scandal. And so I think that would have been a very interesting aspect to play along with, but they did not do that.
Tim, quick question, Tim. Are you getting Lana and Rusev vibes from Drago and his wife?
Oh, I mean, like, yeah. The funniest thing about watching these Rocky movies, I'm just like, God, I know that WWE can kind of be lazy sometimes and just be like, oh yeah, here are these characters. You're like, those are just movie characters with slightly different names. And like, there's been like 10 examples now where I'm like, every Rocky character, I'm like, I've seen this in WWE. And like this in particular, I'm like, wow, that is the most on the nose thing I've seen. So yes, good pull, Sancho.
During the press conference, they challenged Rocky, who's the reigning champ, to an exhibition match. It's going to be the Italian Stallion versus the Siberian Express. And it's going to be a big ticket. So, of course, naturally, Apollo wants in. He calls up Rocky to tell him the good news. And Rocky, not very happy about this. Over in the Drago camp, Ivan and the team are definitely not on steroids. Not at all. Apollo gives the bad news to Rocky over dinner and this robot.
Dude, the fucking robot's there. And Creed calls Stallone Stallion no less than 1,000 times. Like,
I love it,
it's like the most ridiculous thing.
I don't even think Apollo Creed knows Rocky's first name. I just think he calls him Stallion.
Hey, my name is Robert, dude. Robert.
And I forgot who said this line, but somewhere around here, either Creed or Apollo said, "I've retired more men than Social Security." And that is the fucking coolest thing ever.
Creed
says it in the press conference.
So
tight. Adrian, of course, being the sole voice of reason here, tries to talk them out of this fight because having seen Ivan Drago's arms, this is the worst idea imaginable. Later that night, I love this. I love everything about this. They're watching their fight, and Apollo confides in Rocky that people have forgotten about him. He's like, dude, nobody wants my autograph anymore, and it's really sad. And Rocky tells him, look, man, the show's over. And he says, what happens when you're not on top? Where do we go, Snelly? And he goes, we got to change sometimes. He goes, I don't want to change. I like who I am. And he pleads with Rocky as a friend to stand by his side one more time. And Rocky says, all right, but when this is over, and he goes, and Apollo says, I'll always think of something else.
People want autographs all the time, especially back then, dude. You kidding me?
I mean,
you got a former world champion, multi-world, like people are definitely asking for his autographs.
For
Chill
sure.
out, Apollo.
But I think that it obviously speaks to the mindset of the champion, right? Which is, you see this all the time. You see it in MMA, you see it in boxing, you see it everywhere. Everyone always thinks they got one more fight left in them. They love the feeling of it. They love fighting. It's their purpose. And when you can't do it anymore, it's like every sport. Every sport has that, right? That's why Tom Brady, he's a half robot.
But he's
now,
so
right?
good, though. He's still winning.
He's still winning. I mean, he's got robot legs, robot arms, and I think a robot heart.
I
winning smile, though.
I heard a stat recently. This is a crazy Tom Brady stat. Tom Brady would lead the NFL all time in career playoff wins if his career started at age 37.
What?
He's 45 right now. He's 45.
When do most quarterbacks retire?
Around 37.
36, 37. Yeah, he's 45.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Anyway, Apollo gives a banger of a press conference, and Ludmilla, who is Brigitte Nielsen's character in the team, call him old, which I know for sure. It hurts. Rocky, and I just want to give a shout out.
Who calls you that?
There he is right there. But I don't know. When the ghost of Kevin's laugh comes in.
I don't sweat you.
I don't sweat you. I just want to give a shout out. And I don't know if you guys caught this or not. But you want to talk about Rocky's drip? I want to start a new podcast right now called Does It Drip? Because the blazer he wears in this is like a light
cotton
beige
yeah
twill thing, and it's insanely cool. If I
And
had
it
that, I would
matches.
legit. Oh, it matches. It matches
And he has like
everything.
a
It's one color.
a tight t-shirt underneath too.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like a light blue, like a baby blue.
It's so sick. It's so disgusting. Anyway, Apollo, of course, plays this up and gets angry and does his old tricks. But Drago doesn't bite. He just internalizes it like a goddamn nuclear bomb to go off at a later date. Fight night, which when I watched this movie when I was a kid, I was like, oh, Apollo trained for a while. We just skipped that.
I wanted to point out, I love the buddy cop nature between Apollo and Rocky. He's like, was that pretty good, Rocky? He's like, no, you're pretty good. You laid it on pretty good. It's all good.
It.
You love it. I wanted more of that. I love that they're up to something, and we've seen it before, and I wanted more of that chemistry. And in the director's cut, there is a scene that Apollo meets him outside the house, and he's talking to him. And it's interesting because Stallone cuts it. He has a lot of wide shots because he doesn't have a lot of footage. So he uses the wide shot for what he has. But there's a lot of like bare bones. The additional footage is all bare bones stuff that it's no wonder they left it on the cutting room. But he put it in there just to get the tone of the movie right. What do you want?
Yeah. I mean, I just think Carl Weathers elevates everything.
He does.
I think every time he's on screen with, I mean, again, Sylvester Stallone, I love Sylvester Stallone. I think he's a very charismatic person to watch on screen for an hour and a half. But when you put Carl Weathers in there, it's just like, I could watch these two forever, for sure. And the buddy cop comparison is a perfect way to phrase that. Anyway, it's fight night. Apparently they just set the fight for 2 days later because instead of training at all, he's like, I'm just going to go in here and show this kid up. I'm like, this kid is a monster. But anyway, Apollo and Rocky hang out in the locker room, and Rocky's like, look, maybe we should postpone this for a couple of weeks since, you know absolutely zero about Drago, and pretty much you haven't trained at all or been in the ring for 5 years, which is bad. But Apollo tells him, is like, listen, man, you don't understand what's going on here. And Rocky's like, what is it? And he goes, it's us versus them. And Rocky's like, pretend that I don't read newspapers. What are you talking about? And he says, this is about the United States versus Russia. Very much how it was in hockey in the Olympics. Very much is all, this is us versus them, buddy. And and Rocky's like, then maybe you should have trained for this fight and not been 40. But I'll tell you what right now, man, it's time for the intros. And if it was just Dolph Lundgren rising up from the depths of hell to come
with
and claim
Unicron's theme behind
Unicron's theme, and to his point, like Lundgren does a great bit of like kind of acting here with just his eyes, where he's almost overwhelmed at first by this because this is like his first really big fight
in America.
In America,
Mm-hmm. But
I think
also
it was like a pro-am before he got into.
He was an
this,
Olympic
right?
fighter. He was an Olympic fighter. Yeah,
so
and obviously we get James Brown after that, but I think it sets the tone perfectly for the capitalistic fucking country that just loves them some them, you know, we love ourselves and we are fat and happy, and here we are, we're getting a rising ring, and I'm like, where's Mankind? Is Undertaker gonna pop out? What the hell?
And I love, and I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, or if this was just the venue that they picked, but I love that it's a stage. It's not a stadium. It's not an arena, and it's not a ballroom. It's a stage. So everyone's literally watching the show because it's an exhibition match, which is cool. I also want to shout out, and Tim, I know you have a laundry list of things that we're taking from this when we go to the studio. I'd like us all to get rompers because his little romper that he wears is just magnificent.
It is really good.
And this would be enough for me. This would be enough for me. But you know who it's not enough for, Tim? Fucking Apollo Creed.
It's not.
No, it's not.
Because
not
Apollo
not even
fucking Creed needs to take this up 3,000% with James Brown, backup dancers. There's pyrotechnics, and he comes in from the ceiling riding a bull that he smashes with his own hands as he comes in, and it's the best. And he's wearing,
I thought he was going to join him on the microphone.
Movies. Oh my God! Just drop a quick rap verse.
I thought he was. When he walks up to James Brown, I thought he was gonna like harmonize with him or something.
Oh man, it's so freaking cool.
I was gonna mention that the shout outs to the old school Hugo Boss logo,
dude,
that all the trainers were. I was like, I forgot how cool Hugo Boss was.
First off, never forget. Second off, this is. I don't know if you understand this, but like he got it sponsored by Hugo Boss.
It just looks so cool. Dude.
You know what I mean? Like that's Apollo. You can infer from that, or at least I think you can.
Yeah, I agree.
To get from that. But Hugo Boss is just like a team sponsor, basically, and he got hella money for that.
And on top of that, can you imagine, Tim, if someone was like, "Yeah, dude, can we pull out? Can we just cancel? Imagine all the work and then for them to Rocky be like, can you just cancel it? Like,
No
come on,
way,
man.
it's not happening, dude. Tim would get in that ring right now and be like, paying my money.
I'm fighting him. We're getting in there.
Let's see. Apollo gets announced. He weighs in at a nice 221 pounds, which is crazy because he looks every bit as big as he was when he fought Rocky, but I think he was 240 or something like that, or maybe he was 221. Rocky was like 195. We're playing fast and loose with these numbers. Drago, on the other hand, I fully believe came in at 261 pounds of just swinging Russian meat. Apollo tries to shake gloves with Drago, but he just literally stops there and he looks up at him and he says, "Dude, you will lose."
That's it.
Like, so
you
scary.
leave, and the sound effect of it just boom. It's like
He's
no
like, shit.
Yeah, just
The
get
bell
out.
rings. Drago kills him.
Nick froze a little bit.
There we go.
Did you guys hear what I said?
No.
You said the bell rings and then Drago hits your camera and froze everything. That's how scary it was.
That's what happens. It's the Russians. The Russians are hacking my system right now. The bell rings and Apollo comes out, sticking and moving, and he looks pretty good at first until Drago kills him.
Andy Cortez. Andy, like, look, here's the thing. I knew it was going to happen eventually. And like I said a couple Rockies ago, I was like, are they literally going to fucking kill him in the ring? Like, I just don't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They did it. They fucking had the Russian kill him.
He killed him, bro.
He died, Andy.
He killed him.
How did this affect you?
And then they talked on the microphone to Drago. And first off, the fact that they're interviewing at all, it's shocking. While a man is convulsing in the ring, trying to be resuscitated. And
not even being resuscitated, just being held
like he's dead.
Yeah, the fact that there's an interview taking place at all, the fact that the cameras have not cut away, but all of that's still shocking. But the idea that they asked the opposing boxer who committed the murder, the manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, who said, if he dies, he dies.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know what to do with any of that. If this happened in real life, like, I think nukes are flying out immediately.
Yeah.
It's tragically happened, of course, in boxing. People do die. I mean, I always say that it is one of the most dangerous sports in the world, and I still don't to this day understand why YouTubers thinking it's a fun game to play. But regardless, Drago literally does so much illegal stuff. Like, he gets like 5 or 6 extra punches when the bell's rung. He's literally holding like Apollo by his neck and smashes his face in. But like, what's so interesting in the director's cut of this entire fight, the moment that changed the most is Stallone changed it where he doesn't hold on to the towel as long as he did in the original cut. In the original cut, it goes back and forth, and then like Duke's like, throw the towel.
Yeah.
And then here in the director's
cut, it kind of villainizes him. It kind of villainizes Stallone.
And I think that's why Stallone changed it, because he was like, that's not what I intended.
Yeah,
I intended for Stallone to want to do the right thing, but adhere to Apollo. But in this original cut, it goes on way too long. It cuts back to Stallone. He's like holding the towel, and his poor wife Apollo's watches. And how cold-blooded was Drago's wife? He's saying, "I will see you later," because the Russians were like, "Listen, this is an exhibition, but go out there and murder this man," because that was a fact. Like, show how strong the Russian strength is. And it was so funny because Duke's like, dude, this is an exhibition, baby. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is not how you do it. It's like, Andy, we play pickup basketball, and this guy shows up in the court and Shaq's dunking on you, dude. That's what it would have been if this was real. But what a very tragic thing. And this is the thing that I always remember from Rocky IV was Apollo's death, and it'd be the catalyst for the future of the rest of the franchise.
Rocky.
I wanted to point out,
Andy.
I wanted to point out real quick that, definitely I'm glad that they did change that in the director's cut, because you don't want to, or at least if you're gonna do that, explore that a bit more.
Right.
Where like
that's why he's fighting Drago, because
like,
he feels guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think explore that conflict more. Right. Another thing that they don't fully kind of dive into, but I would have loved this scene in the director's cut where the coroner, they're like, "Hey, coroner, how's the body?" And they're like, his brain exploded. Like, there's nothing in his skull right now. Because, like, what was the actual cause of death? What do you think it actually was?
Hematoma? What, brain swelling, probably?
Yeah.
Man, it'd be so
that's
cool
not
if it was just
hematoma.
brain explosion.
fractured skull.
I would have just loved like if Drago he just hits him once and his head just fucking.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, pull the blood between the brain and inside covering. Yeah, I mean, imagine if we knew that Drago was conflicted about this going into the fight with Rocky. How much more dynamic that would have been if we saw a little bit of his emotions before this, and then had the Politburo and his like PR, his KGB contact be like, "You need to lock it the fuck up," like, or else I'll kill your wife or whatever. That would have been such a cool thing to like. That would have been more tension going into this fight. Rocky wants to kill him to avenge the death, but secretly to avenge his own, demons because he should have thrown in that damn towel or not let him fight.
And then Rocky's about to kill him, and we could have gotten some straight up like Cobra Kai stuff where suddenly we're rooting for Drago, and Rocky's the bad guy now because like Drago's like feeling bad about it the whole time, and he's just like, I didn't want to kill him, and then Rocky is like, oh, you killed my friend, and he's like holding like double swords on top of him, and you're like, Rocky, don't kill him, dude. He feels bad about it.
He feels bad.
Yeah.
So in the funeral, that's a big change. What we're gonna get to is Stallone has this very interesting speech in the director's cut. He says like, dude, you gave me a chance. I love you. And he actually says, I love you, man. And you were the one that understood who I was. You gave me a shot. And it changes completely to in the original cut, which you're got to get to, Nick, is that he just says Apollo was the best and gives him the belt. And that was it.
He says all that matters now is what he lived for and what he died for, which was an exhibition match against a steroid-addled amateur, barely worth his time. But Rocky doesn't even fucking hesitate. Tim, somebody kills me in the ring, you better fucking step up to that motherfucker. You understand me? You don't even wait, bro. You tweet about it the second my heart stops. I tweet about it. I got this guy.
I'll think about it, Nick. I'll think about it.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Thanks.
I'll consider it.
Rocky has to give up his title, which is interesting to fight Drago because Drago is not sanctioned, largely because of the steroid use, you would think. And he's taking no money for this fight. And also, to add insult to injury, the fight is in Russia on Christmas. They're making it as hard as possible for Rocky to win this fight. Adrian is blindsided by this. She comes home to this storm of news reporters, and she's overwhelmed. She yells at Rocky. She says, you can't change anything. All we can do is just go with what we are. Or that's what he says. And she says, you can't win. Oh. And he says, maybe I can't. Maybe the only thing I can do is take everything he's got. But to beat me, he's going to have to kill me. To which Adrian responds, like... duh, like whatever. Anyway, then he says she doesn't understand why Rocky has to fight. Or sorry, he says,
he's going to die. He's going to kill me.
He's like, he's going to have to have the heart to stand in front of me, and to do that, he has to be willing to die himself. And if my significant other said this to me, I'd be like, we need to go talk to a therapist. Yeah. This is getting out of hand. This is a sport, and your best friend just died in it, and you're not that much younger than he is. Just FYI.
This is a men will literally box to their death instead of visiting therapy.
Exactly. But Rocky's like, listen, Adrian, we're arguing. So instead of going to a therapist, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get in my super expensive car and drive fast and just think about all the cool things that have happened in the last 3 movies. Set to no easy way out.
Yes. Yo, it's just really, I mean, Andy, I even wrote my note we get a full ass Linkin Park AMV montage.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Oh, did I mess up?
No,
we got it.
Digital out it.
Yeah. So
it's awesome.
And then also, I love it that like the lyrics are it's Eye of the Tiger, but the lyrics are just about Russia versus USA. Like it's just so funny.
There's no easy way out. Come on, dude. It's so good. It's underrated 80s. If we didn't watch all these movies back to back, we would have really loved it. Imagine the movie theater and all of a sudden you're getting flooded with all these emotions. You're seeing Rocky looking amazing in this car. And then at the same time, I wanted some VH1 pop-up video. That's what I felt like.
Yes.
Bro, when I was watching this whole thing, I was waiting for...
was 38 years old at the time of this filming.
Exactly. And at the very end...
Sylvester Stallone doesn't know how to drive a car.
Yeah. At the very end, I think Nick and I got the same idea because it looked like he drives through the tunnel and the camera stays and the car goes and it looks like the perfect spot for that lower third. Right there, the credits of like No Easy Way Out by Temper. Exactly. That's what it looked like. That's what exactly what it looked like.
I'll be honest with you, man. I bet if you looked up that video, the music video for it, that's exactly what that is. I bet they just filmed the music video in the movie and were like, double dip, we'll just release it later. Because I think MTV was big at this point, right?
It may just be the music video.
That's what I'm saying. I think they legit just put it in there. Anyway, next day, Paulie and his robot pack the car while Rocky tells Rocky Jr. about the marriage. I don't know, man. He tells Rocky Jr., who was just a different kid than it was in the prior movie, about the merits of going one more round when you think you're done. Maybe he's talking about Rocky 5. Rocky leaves without saying goodbye to Adrian. Weird move. And then Rocky, Polly, and Duke land in Russia to the song Burning Heart by Survivor.
It's
Man,
a
it's
burning
snowy in
heart.
Russia. Yeah.
And about to break.
They drive Rocky out into the middle of nowhere while he'll be under 24/7 surveillance by his bodyguards, I think, which we all know is the KGB. The chaperones, yeah, but it's really the KGB. No sparring, no TV. How's Rocky supposed to train? Duke later that night gives Rocky a heart-to-heart and says, quote, Apollo was like my son. I raised him, and when he died, a part of me died. But now you're the one. You're the one who's going to keep his spirits alive. You're the one who's going to make sure that he didn't die for nothing. Now you're going to have to go through hell worse than any nightmare you ever dreamed. But in the end, I know you'll be the one standing.
And if only you would have thrown in that towel faster, man.
Apollo could be here. We could just be sipping Mai Tais. None of us have to fight this nightmare.
I don't think Apollo would be all there
you wouldn't have
after
to,
that fight.
You wouldn't have to figure out how to transport a robot across the world.
I'm getting stuck in snow. Help.
This is one of those moments that I love so much, because if you had just like watched Rocky 1 and then you just ask somebody like, hey, what happens in Rocky 4? It's like, well, eventually Creed's manager Duke's going to be like having a heart-to-heart with Rocky in Russia because this Russian guy fucking killed Creed in the ring. I would not believe you. Like, it's just so ridiculous how far we've gotten in just 4 movies.
Can't wait for you to watch Rocky 5. Montage time, everyone. Drago trains in 2001, A Space Odyssey. Well, Rocky takes it back old school and pretty much just runs through the Siberian wasteland saving horses and shit.
Dude, so cool.
I love this, dude. This montage fucking rules, man. Like, it's legitimately filmed really damn well, and I think it's edited really awesome. And here's what Rocky's version of a pull-up is or whatever compared to what like I just love all the parallels that they keep on drawing, and there's just really awesome cuts all over the place. This is my full Monty so far for the whole franchise, honestly.
Damn, are we doing it right now? Is that what's going to be?
I think we got to.
Let's go.
We got to.
It's
Monty.
Monty.
There it is.
Take your clothes off. It's a montage. Okay, ladies. I mean, you want to rank it? Right now, full Monty montage. Rocky 2 is at number 1, and then Rocky and Rocky 3 are at number 2 for some reason.
I'm putting it at number 1, even though I know I'm going to get outvoted because the music isn't quite as hype as any of the others. There's no vocals, but I just kind of sat in that experience. Like, I think it's the best. I think it's the most artistic of all of them. Like, looking at it from an editor's eye, from somebody who puts together clips and stuff, like, it just felt really well done, and I appreciated the creativity. Where the other ones, I think, are really held up by the song and the hype and all that stuff, and you just got to show Sylvester Stallone lifting his hands, and that's enough for those other montages. But this one, I think, is the best kind of crafted one.
See, Andy, I think I'm going to surprise you here. I'm right there with you. I think that Rocky 4 has to get it, and a big reasoning for me is I think that the single most hype moment of the culmination, we still haven't peaked. We haven't got past Rocky 2. Like, all the kids running behind it, like the amount of people in Philadelphia behind him, like you can't beat that. It's perfect Rocky. It's exactly what it needs to be.
Traffic jams, car crashes behind him.
Yeah, exactly. This though, it lasts so long that even though it has a couple lulls, anytime it starts lulling down a bit, it somehow finds a way to get back up, and it just keeps going. The perfect cuts between what each one of them's doing and how they're similar, but they're so different. We get glistening thighs. I thought that was over. I thought 3 had the max glisten. We get to see Drago's thighs fucking do their damn work, and it is a thing of beauty. I'd put Rocky 4 at number 1 because this movie, I mean, just overall, I don't even think just this montage. I do think that this combined with the next one, that is what brings it to me for this being number 1.
Now, it's not true. I'm sorry. Before you weigh in on this, I'm going to need you to do me a favor. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah, sure.
I need you to win.
Oh,
win. Get the fuck out of here with your Rocky 4 montages. Rocky 2 still number one, the most hype moment. The song, the guy slapping his fucking abs as he's doing the sit-ups.
Goddamn.
Just the most incredible moment, the culmination of everything. Adrian comes out of a fucking coma to tell Rocky to win. Get out of here. This one's so sad. They were like, this isn't good enough. Let's film a whole other one and set it to a different fucking song. Get out of here. This montage is not even as cool, nearly as cool as number 2.
We can't forget about the kid, dude, who was trying to catch him. He's like, no.
That kid had it for a second, man. He had it for 5 seconds, and then Rocky just turns on the afterburner.
He turned on the afterburner. Hey, don't weigh in on it, Tim. You already put it in your.
No, Tim, you can rescind it. We haven't done it.
I want to hear what Sancho has to say because I'm hoping something is about to happen.
Okay, so I love the training montage song. That's what it's called, actually. Training montage. It has a good synth bass.
It rules.
It's so good, and it's one of my favorite songs just to listen to randomly from Rocky. The thing about it is, if you combine both montages from Rocky 4, they probably have a shot at Rocky 2, but they do not. Rocky 2 is just really strong. And what I like about it is, even though this is definitely the Mighty Ducks 2 of Rocky, where he goes and represents America, and he's out there doing his thing, and he's fighting the Russians, there's something about him representing Philadelphia that is the character of Rocky. There's a reason why Sylvester Stallone opened up Lincoln Field in the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was up there ringing the bell, and everyone was like, yeah, he represents us. And even though they lost that game against the Raiders, but the point is, against the Buccaneers, actually, the point is,
Eagles suck, bro.
They do, dude. As a Cowboy fan, they do absolutely suck. I would still have to say Rocky 2 wins, but Rocky 4, the Hearts on Fire, we have to talk about that song. It's such a good song too, and it builds nicely. You have Stallone in a beard. It's way before Bearded Ryu.
He's got a little beard.
That's a little bitty beard, but he looks great. And his speaking about the drip again, that
what is this coat
that leather
wearing? It's
coat,
incredible.
He's looking like, dude, he's looking like Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil 4.
And that hat, dude, he looks, and his stubble. This dude has the best stubble I've ever seen in American cinema history. But Rocky 2 wins.
I wanted to throw out one more thing in either one of the montages. I'm not sure which one it is.
But it does beat out 1 and 3.
We get the injection shot, right?
Yeah.
That's
but
in
what
the
I
next
was
one.
It would have really elevated, like, this would have been easily number one if, like, you see, like, I wanted to see an arm get injected, and then, like, it'd be the scientist's arm, then he grabs an injection to go inject the drug.
He's like, ooh, these things are good.
All the scientists are just getting roided up, too.
It's like, have you ever seen the Cannonball Run?
Yes. Love that.
Remember that shot of the crazy doctor who just goes, he has a needle that he was about to inject someone, he just squirts it into his own mouth. Like, anyway,
so that means
what is it?
Tied at number 1, Rocky 2 and Rocky 4. And let me tell y'all, I ain't mad at it. And then at number 2, tied Rocky 1 and Rocky 3.
I don't like these ties.
I love it. Let's go.
The draw.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, I gotta do this right. It's Rocky Ive now. That's how.
Wait. So does Drago do anything for you, Nick? Him standing on top of a mountain. I mean, I liked it. It's such a very Lord of the Rings moment of seeing him crawl. Like, to think about the shot. Stallone, like, from running up the stairs to literally running up a mountain and screaming.
This just always felt weird to me that he wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I've never been in love with this montage in general, but I do love this moment where he takes a break and who gets out of the car. Of course, she couldn't stay away. Tim, come on, give me a fucking break. She goes, I couldn't stay away.
Give me a fucking break.
and he says, I missed you. And she says, I'm with you no matter what. And he says, no matter what, which translates to, of course, Andy, of course, is a currency exchange. Of course, back then money wasn't as word, but you changed it to now. No matter what translates to whatever it fucking takes, Tim. Whatever it takes. We're going to beat this Russian, and this Russian is Thanos. Hearts on fire, everyone. You better get ready, Russia, because it's about to get hot. The second montage, is my favorite, because this is one where, like this. We've shot Drago doing everything. He's deadlifted. He's run around this crazy indoor track. At one point, they have a spotlight on him in the ballroom that they're going to fight in. It's like crazy shit. What else can we do? Well, we've alluded to the fact that he takes steroids. Maybe we can jam a giant needle into his ass. Sure. Let's do that. Man, this movie's 85% music videos, and I'm here for it.
It is.
80s music videos, too. Like, it's like such a specific moment in time, and it's a great moment, man.
Well, at the same time, dude, Stallone is doing all the what is it, the calisthenics and all that stuff. He's training so hard that the people watching him are sweating. Like that's how hard he's training.
Like this dude's insane.
And my favorite one out of all of them was him lifting the horse-drawn carriage, and he's just like doing the shoulder presses with it.
Yeah, the yoke.
Yeah,
that he's got.
He's doing that one, and then my favorite one that kind of like it starts the second part of the montage is that abs where he's like slowly.
Dude, it's like a reverse push-up essentially. Like, what the fuck is happening, man? Gravity's the thing, y'all. Figure it out.
Incredible,
dude. He's doing some gnarly stuff. I mean, the only thing is like he's so cut, looks so great. And it's just really cool. And the one I want to point out, though, before we get any further, is that rope. That rope one is a legit one, of course. That rope one is, you could see. I wish they did more of this in the movie, where the training actually makes sense. And you'll see in the other movies that the reason why he's doing the rope one, because they're setting up the slip. Like, he understands that Drago only has this crazy jab and over right hand. That's pretty much all he does. But if he could slip a punch and hit him, that's what he was training with, that up and under moves with the rope, was to get ready for that. But I just wish the movie like hit that harder, and that's, I guess, a common complaint we always have. But it's there, but I guess they just left the cutting floor explain what he's doing.
Tim, a slip is when you pretend like you're falling on a banana peel and then you punch the guy in the face. Andy, we've lost you. You're in virtual cam world for me, just FYI. Fight Night. Ivan has now been renamed because of his fight with Apollo Creed, Death from Above.
Oh, and it's like, cool, great. This guy's already a badass. We already fucking love him. We're terrified of him. How could we make him cooler? Let's give him a nickname like Death from Above. And I'm like, cool. Well, his first entrance was utterly fantastic. There's no way they have a better one this time. You stupid motherfucker, Tim.
Idiot.
What were you thinking?
Idiot. You idiot.
This is
Let
everything.
me tell you why. Because, and this, again, going back to why I love this movie. Normally, you don't shine a 20,000 watt spotlight directly into the camera, but they didn't give a shit on this.
No, they didn't.
He comes
dude.
out of pure burning light with smoke behind him and everything silhouetted. And I just love how a lot of this stuff shot, because it's shot like it's just so mid 80s, mid to late 80s. I love it. He comes in. It's just hype as shit and scary as hell.
You gotta watch the director's cut. The HD, like the whole revamping of it. It looks fantastic, dude. It looks so good. It looks so good. Everything's so crispy, clean lines, and you would like the way it looks updated.
I mean, there's no substitute for that old school film.
As a reminder, the American Boxing Commission has not sanctioned this fight.
Yeah.
No.
The Russian anthem starts playing from a live fucking band with singers at a giant fucking painting of Ivan Drago's body. This is incredible.
So bad. So bad.
I expected to see like the Star Wars First Order marches. Like,
dude.
Of course, Rocky gets introduced and everyone boos him. Drago gets introduced, and every single person in the stands and watching at home wonders that these men are even within 100 pounds of each other. There's no way this fight would ever get made, but whatever.
This fight feels so epic compared to the final fights in the other movies. Like, just the way they present it with the entrances, and even just the commentators. Like, there's Japanese commentators. Like, it feels like it's this worldwide moment, and it does feel like they're fighting for like global warfare.
They walk, of course, to the center of the ring as the ref tells them the rules. And once again, it looks like Rocky is fighting Hulk Hogan from Rocky 3, because the size difference is ridiculous. And then Drago looks him in the eyes and says it. I must break you. And they head back to the corner, and Paulie, who had this endearing moment when he was walking out saying, if I could be anyone else on this planet, I'd love to be you, says, remember when I said that? Forget about it. And Rocky goes, yeah, thanks, Paulie. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Man, the bell rings and off we go. One more time, just so everyone knows, Dolph Lundgren's hair is so freaking cool in this. And it never changes. Even when he gets sweaty, I don't even think it goes down.
It gets scarier. It gets scary. It
gets sharper. It's like Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And there's something about the black mouth guard that looks so scary in a boxer's mouth. He just looks...
Of course, Duke is screaming the words of encouragement to Rocky that he'll need to get through this fight, which is just simply no pain. No pain?
No pain.
No pain. Spoilers, guys. There's pain. Rocky takes a beating in round 1. Drago literally
He forgot how to block, Nick.
Again.
Gone. I mean,
Stop, dude. Like, we gotta be. I don't know. I'm just mad that like Stallone was apparently with all the articles we read like in part 1 how he didn't love the choreography. So he was like, no, we can't be exactly like a boxing match. But like, I want to see Stallone blocking up here, getting body shots, then blocking his body, then taking face shots. Like, it can't just be Stallone running out there. Gah, gah, gah. It looks so stupid, man.
Blocks with his face, dude. Come on.
I hate it.
I got another one of those articles here.
Yeah, I love this.
This
I
one
love
has
this
some interesting stuff. Sylvester Stallone decided that for the shooting of the fight, he and Dolph should hit one another for real, so as to increase the intensity of the scene. After doing 3 takes of Rocky taking shots to the ribs, Stallone felt a burning in his chest, but ignored it. Later that night, he had difficulty breathing and was taken to a nearby emergency room. It was discovered that his blood pressure was over 200. He had to be flown on a low-altitude flight from Canada to St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, where he remained in intensive care for 4 days. What had happened was that Lundgren had punched him so hard in the chest that his heart had slammed up against his breastbone and began to swell, cutting off the blood supply and restricting the oxygen flow throughout his body. However,
holy shit.
When asked about whether or not it really happened while answering a series of fan questions in a 2021 interview with The Guardian, Lundgren claimed to have no recollection of the incident. Quote, I don't know. Stallone keeps talking about it, so maybe he's right. He did go to the hospital, but I don't know whether it was my punches or the fact that he was overworked as the director, actor, and writer. We shot those 15 rounds over 2 or 3 weeks, 8 or 12 hours a day, so you're throwing thousands of punches. If you don't connect, it looks a little bit fake, but it doesn't mean you want to hurt the other guy. But there's no hard feelings. He went on to explain that stand-ins and stunt doubles were rarely used and that he has performed the majority of his own stunts and fight scenes, but that has changed in more recent years. Back in the day, you had to do it all yourself. Rocky IV, The Punisher, Masters of the Universe, The Expendables. I've jumped from a motorcycle to a truck. Dangerous things I would never do now. Staying physically fit over the years has been nice. There aren't many actors who can stay physically fit for a long time. Part of the game is trying to look fit at least. I don't think it was me that punched Stallone.
Damn,
that's great.
What's crazy is Stallone really hurt himself in Expendables. When he was fighting Stone Cold, he like cracked his neck or something when they were fighting. So Stallone doesn't learn.
Stone Cold like
he
doesn't
doesn't
learn to the ground
dude.
Or something in that.
Yeah, it was like a tackle and they hit like a brick wall or something. But yeah, dude, Stallone doesn't learn. I mean, Tamor knows. He's seen Mission, man.
We ended up not bringing it up, but I had slacked him right after, and he had some facts he didn't bring up during Rocky II.
Oh wow!
About the broken arm that Stallone had like broken his shoulder or something, so that's why the southpaw change happened, because they had to work around his injury because he couldn't punch with his left or one of his arms. I forget what it was.
Oof.
So the whole plot twist of the hey, switch to righty or whatever, that was all because of his injury.
Rocky barely gets through the first round when he gets back to the corner. He's asked, Duke says, what's happening out there? And Rocky says, he's winning. I see 3 of him. And Paulie says, hit the one in the middle. Rocky gets knocked down.
That made me laugh. That was good.
Rocky gets down, which apparently was I guess that was a real quote from a fight that happened a long time ago. Rocky gets knocked down again, but this time he just keeps coming. Drago hits him with the flurry, but Rocky fires back, and the announcer cries out, he's cut.
Oh,
the Russians cut.
Such a good line.
And dude, man, if you thought this fight was over, Andy, you're such a stupid fucking idiot, because this fight barely just got started, baby.
Yo, the guitar solo that kicks fucking in over the scene, it's just screaming. And then it just fucking has this moment where it's like he's cut. And then there's that sound cue. Do 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 do. And I'm like, holy shit, man. Like, this is incredible. They've nailed the energy of this shit.
I love that
again,
line. He's cut.
Let me be the Debbie Downer. Here comes Debbie Downer.
Oh, here he comes, everyone. Hey, everyone. Is that your friend, Debbie Downer? Oh.
Debbie Andy.
I need the cut to happen as a result of a lesson of some sort.
Amen. You're right.
I I need
like the slip. It needed to tie in the slip. The idea of like him training a specific thing, a strategy that he had trouble with at the beginning, that he worked out in the second act, and that comes to fruition in the third act.
And then I need Doctor Strange to hold up the one, and then Sylvester Stallone to go, "Oh shit, he's doing the thing that I was warned about.
Right.
Time to go for the fan." Boom! Like give me a little anime, like, "Oh, he has his hands down. I gotta punch him in the eyebrow or some shit."
Right.
Okay, in the director's cut,
finger on his tail.
Wally's robot comes out, shoots a lightsaber into the sky. Stallone grabs it,
Makes sense.
slices his face.
I thought you were going to give me a real reason. I was going to go, well, in the director's cut of kind of funny, we're all billionaires, all right?
That's a good director's cut.
They go back and forth, and over in Drago's corner, his cornerman, I think it's the Politburo guy, tells him, he's like, listen, this guy Rocky is soft, and Drago disagrees. He says he's not human. He's like a piece of iron.
Yes.
And then we cut over to Rocky's corner, and I swear to God, if we were ranking the fucking hypest moments in any of the movie, this is it. Duke fucking lays it out for me. He says, you cut him, you hurt him, you see, he's not a machine, he's a man. You want it more than he does. No pain, pain, dude. Take it to him. And we fucking go, baby.
I just got goosebumps right now, man.
Dude. Just screaming in his face. No
great
pain.
delivery.
Rocky's like, yes. And then the rounds pass one by one. Drago is winning this fight pretty resoundingly.
I mean, here's the thing. Is there not a knockout limit? Is there?
It's the non-sanctioned fight in Russia on Christmas, Andy.
It's no holds bar, Andy. No holds bar.
If Drago lasts 10 more seconds, it's a fucking unanimous 14 knockout to none victory.
Yes.
What? How many times is Rocky? There's got to be a limit. It's got to be like a run rule in fucking Little League baseball, dude. If you're up by 10, you call it, dude.
By round 12, of course, now Rocky has just won over the entire Russian population. Now they're even cheering for Rocky, as the announcers say.
Incredible.
Round 13, Duke tells Rocky, take his heart, no pain, just screaming at him. Final round, and neither fighter is backing down. The arena is ready to explode. The entire crowd is cheering for Rocky, which will most assuredly get them all thrown into a far, far away Russian gulag, never to be heard from again.
Drago's gulag.
Drago's Kremlin contact calls him an idiot, and Drago fucking throat slams him into the table down below him. Which, okay, you're dead. That guy, that's done. Anyway, the bell rings. Final round. They touch gloves, and Drago tells Rocky to the end. Rocky takes a beating and then goes to work. Both men pound each other into the mat.
You know what I needed? Director's cut too. Add this in the director's cut too.
Okay.
He's in the corner, right? Blah blah blah, and then just a silent flashback to the final round about to start, and it's fucking Apollo Creed going ding ding.
Yeah.
And the final round starts, dude. Man, come on, dude.
That would have been incredible. As this round keeps going, the announcers put it best. He says, this is just a street fight. It's a question of who wants it most. And the man that wants it most, Tim, that man's name is Rocky Balboa. Deep into the final round, Rocky puts Drago down for the count, and America wins again. Man, how many ways can we re-record the Rocky theme? Oh, let me count it, because this one's like the hyper theme when it kicks in.
Yeah.
You thought the other one was fast. This one's like, what's happening? There's so many colors. Oh, man. And then we get it. Just the worst fucking speech you could ever say. He says, during this fight, I seen a lot of change in it. I was like, okay, cool. And then the way you feel about me, the way I feel about you, in here, there are two guys killing each other, but I guess that's better than 20 million. So what I'm trying to say is, if I could change, and you could change, everybody can change.
Beautiful, it's best speech.
Everyone looks to the Russian prime minister, who's like,
slow clapping, dude. Let's go.
Take down that
wearing
wall.
the American flag as a cape. It's just so
awesome.
ridiculous.
Of course, the shot of him being hoisted with the cape, that is what Sandra was talking about, the poster. That is great. Then Rocky wishes his kid a Merry Christmas, and Hearts on Fire plays again while we freeze frame on a shot of Rocky holding up the stars and stripes. And that is Rocky.
Oh man!
I mean, hold on. We didn't even one sec. I know we sped through a lot of stuff, but
to be true, I mean, Rocky 4 speeds through itself. Oh, there we go.
Now it's time to rank those abs.
Because I'll tell you what, Nick Scarpino.
You go, give it to me, Andy.
When Rocky takes off the robe, I had the kind of stereotypical Nick moment of seeing a shrouded, that's Nick's word, by the way, a shrouded man.
Oh, wow.
But like whenever Nick sees that, I did the Jesus fucking Christ, like
On the plane?
this dude. No, I ended up watching. I was sweating on the plane so much. I watched the last 20 minutes at home because I couldn't watch all of it on the plane. But watching that moment, I out loud was Jesus Christ, dude. This. Like, I guess it's the amount of oils and lighting and shading that all kind of culminated in the perfect sculpture of a man. And Dolph Lundgren, super ripped too, obviously. But I think we're right now in this kind of moment, we're kind of ranking Rocky's progress. Yes. And holy shit, like, again, just the side section is just ridiculous, dude.
I'm looking at it right now. It's just the whatever those muscles are on the ribs, which I don't have. I've looked. They're just not there. He looks the best he's ever looked, I think, in this movie.
I got an X-ray, Nick, to like, are they there? And they were like, no, they don't exist.
No,
there.
sir. That's
because he shot Rambo 2. In Rambo 2, he is boom.
Okay, that makes
sense. He is cut like Robert Downey Jr. said, cut like a Julian salad. Like that's what I'm talking about, dude. That is the dedication he has in his physique.
God, look at that. He's like an 8-pack, for Christ's sake.
Andy, hit me with haiku in review.
We'll put that up there.
Oh wait. High fight is this one? This one's number 1, right? Rocky 4.
Oh, we'll get to it. We'll do it.
All right, go.
We'll rank the fight. Is it hype?
Number 1.
It's number 1.
Yeah,
it's number 1. Like, I don't even think it's fucking close. And again, I'm with Andy. It's still not perfect. They're still dropping the ball in a lot of ways, but all the other ones dropped the ball as well. This one also just had incredible moments after incredible moment. God, you're muted.
So muted, Sancho.
Sancho, you're muted.
I hit my foot. Number 1 is because of Duke. Duke definitely brings it to that elevated level.
Take it to him. Take it to him. No pain. No pain, Tim.
What do you guys think, Nick, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, this is the fight. It's us versus Russia. We won.
Yep.
Yeah, I think seeing even though I don't think it was set up super well, I still enjoyed watching the doubt and weakness start to creep in on Drago's side after he starts bleeding. I think that is a really cool moment, even though, like, man, it could use so much more just in terms of framing and stuff, but I still think it was, this fight is number 1 for me. Not boring.
The final fight hype ranked right now. Number 1, Rocky 4. Number 2, Rocky 2. Number 3, Rocky 1. And number 4, Rocky 3. Now it's time for, let's do RaGuOPO.
RaGuOPO. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rag Guys Talk Opponents. Right now on the list, Apollo Creed from Rocky 2 is top on the list, number 1. Number 3, for some reason, is Apollo Creed from Rocky 1. Number 4 is Clubber Lang, Rocky 3. I think it was 1, 2, and 3. Where do we want to put Ivan, Death from Above, the Siberian Express, Drago?
It's cheating in a lot of ways. I do think
he was on
steroids.
1.
Oh, for sure.
Dang,
but like the thing is, this motherfucker,
classic.
his entrances are great. He's a cartoon bad guy, and he literally killed Apollo Creed in the ring. Like, he's number 1.
Yeah,
I'll give it. What do you think, Sancho?
Buddy, he represents Russia too, and there's a reason why Top Gun Maverick doesn't have a real bad guy, like a real country. It's because of this reason. And so I like him. I think Drago, the reason what makes him so bad is that he had no care for rules and just the stature of a boxer. He's tall, has a great reach, and he was just scary and downright unbreakable. But the thing I would have to dock him 1 or 2 points was that his boxing style wasn't as great. He was really, really sloppy. And he was just a blunt, like a brute force. So that's why I would still give it to Apollo. So I'll put him at 2.
I'd put him at number 2 because I think Apollo. I just like Apollo's. I think he's just a better crafted character. I think he's got more highs and lows in terms of reading all the hate mail and all that shit. Like I think
the comments.
Yeah, I think all of that stuff kind of just he's a more well-rounded character.
All right, so we'll put him right below Apollo Creed from Rocky 2, but right above Apollo Creed from Rocky 1.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
good. It's good. I like
Okay.
it.
There you go.
You're
There you
wrong,
go,
but
final
okay.
list.
Okay.
Okay.
And now haiku in review.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If it's not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review.
You can go to patreon.com/KindaFunny to write your review in haiku form, just like Ignacio Rojas did, who I think is similar to me and Andy watching this franchise for the first time. He said, I expected more. Some good moments, needed more. Has great soundtrack, though. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong, Ignacio.
You ain't wrong.
Then we got Reckless Pull-Up saying, yo, James Brown, baby. Did he just stop World War III?
You did.
CTE for sure.
So
Excellent,
much
Reckless.
CTE.
Excellent.
Wait.
Excellent.
What happened to James Brown at the end of that fight? Like, what did he do? Did he just like,
I just sang the entrance to this man's death.
Do you think James Brown is like after the show, like to the agent, like, hey, like I don't know how to collect the money because I don't know how to
We
collect the
gotta get paid for it.
payment.
Yeah, let's.
'cause he was
your
gonna pay
job.
me,
That's
but
what I
he's
paid
dead.
you.
Is there going to be an after party still? I mean,
Who do I invoice?
It's so funny.
Oh,
All right, y'all.
man.
Now it's time to rank the Rocky movies. Currently, number 1 is Rocky 2. Number 2
Respectfully.
is Rocky 1. And number 3 is Rocky 3. This is the hardest one for me to rank of all time. Because I'm just going to say it. This is the Hobbs and Shaw of the Rocky franchise so far.
Wow.
Where
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
the most. It gives you everything you like at ridiculous levels.
Right.
But it kind of just doesn't work overall. Like
flat.
it's kind of just like it's all the things, but it just doesn't have something.
Mm.
But I do think that it has a lot, though. I feel like that's kind of discrediting the fact that they pulled off the American versus Russian storyline in the cartoon fashion. Like this was a boxing cartoon movie, and they committed to it. And I feel like it was consistent throughout with the vision that I don't think the rest of the movies necessarily always had. I feel like I'm gonna regret this, but like I'm gonna. My vote's number 4.
Whoa.
Tim, listen to me. Listen to me. We disagree on pretty much everything.
Here it
right?
comes.
Fundamentally, we're different human beings.
Here it
What I
comes.
will say about this is they call it Rocky 4 for a reason. I agree with you. Put it Rocky number 4. I think this movie's, again, more style over substance. I think it's got a lot of great scenes that are memorable and parodied because they're memorable, which says a lot about it. And I think he's a more compelling character and a more realistic character in Rocky 3. And Rocky 3 just to me has my favorite relationship and my favorite back and forth in the entire franchise. It was just him hanging out with Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed coming out of the locker room, out of the shadows, to come and train Rocky against to fight Clubber Lang, this monster that's Mr. T. Come on, that's the most hype thing ever. And then of course, there's just so many. There's more like 80% more thighs in this movie in Rocky 3 than Rocky 4. So I put this in number 4 for sure.
Yeah, then real quick, just like last bit of my thoughts here. It's like I'm with you, Nick, and I feel like I just think the Rocky 3 is better, and it does a lot of the things I like most about this one, and it just kind of does them in more hype ways or more concise, more appropriate ways is probably the best way to put it. I would rank Rocky 1 last, but because of where we're at here, I think that Rocky 2, while I really don't like the first half, I don't think anything we've seen so far has touched the second half of Rocky 2. So I think it has earned that spot. But I think with all of these 4 movies, we still haven't got one that I can stand by that I'm like, that was a fucking great movie. Like there's a lot of great moments, a lot of great things, but I still don't think that the full package has been achieved yet. Andy Cortez, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think I'm kind of with you all. I guess I do enjoy the back and forths that we got with Creed. I thought going into this movie with Duke being the trainer, I thought I was going to enjoy that a lot more. And we got a couple of cool lines, but not a whole lot more. I was wanting more intimacy. I was wanting kind of more teaching moments, and maybe instead of just a couple lines of, when Apollo died, part of me died too. Like I needed more from that sort of from that character relationship. So yeah, this would be at number 4 for me as well.
Yeah,
Sancho West.
I would not. If you would ask me what's my favorite Rocky, like one of them would be Rocky 4 because of the ride, the experience, the the overall arcing battle of the United States versus Russia being put down between Rocky and Drago. I think that what really, like I mentioned earlier, it's a product of its time, and it's a great thing to look at and be like, this is what the 80s produced, is this kind of cinema. And I think what really works for it the most is that it just doesn't, it understands, it doesn't stay too long. It just gets in and out. It's mostly montages, as we talked about. But I think what it hurts the most is that we've seen so many of the Rockies back to back to back to back. That's why you kind of like, can you imagine like with Nick watching this Rocky 4 in the movie theaters, how hype it was to see Stallone taking on Russia at the peak of the 80s with Cold War happening. And
it's incredible he won it for us.
Yes, and at the same time, getting the love of seeing like Rocky going through all the moments from it. I would have put it at number 3. Like I mentioned, Rocky 3's pacing throws me off the most. It's like it starts and stops again. I know there's a hype moment of Apollo joining forces, but there's something special about Rocky joining Apollo and helping him out. I think if it had a little bit more of the director's cut, you would have seen something that you would have, I think, you would have really wanted out of this picture. And Stallone realized that the most, and he got the robot out completely. And if we could punish Rocky 1 for Little Marie, we have to punish Rocky 4 for the robot. So I would definitely.
Fair
That's
enough.
why it for me it's 3, but I respectfully understand why it's at 4.
So the rankings now of Rocky: number 1, Rocky 2, number 2, Rocky 1, number 3, Rocky 3, and number 4, Rocky 4. We'll be back next week with Rocky 5, and the week after that with Rocky Balboa to round out the Rocky part of the Rocky Creed franchise. Let us know in the comments below how crazy you think we are for our list, or if you totally agree. What's your favorite Rocky moment? Let us know. Sancho West, where can people find you?
You can find me on all things Sancho West, and of course streaming on Twitch. And hey, you want to talk movies? Come on by. I always love talking about cinema.
Hell yes. Until next time, I love you all.
Keep on punching.